Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm your host, Al, and Tokyo Ghoul. What can you say about it outside of it's Tokyo Ghoul? And apparently, people absolutely like it because it's black and white views on the world, and totally not anything else. Even though, oh wait, it totally doesn't have black and white views on the world, and the fact that fanfiction apparently is so black and fucking white that apparently people just automatically ignore the organization that basically is the Gestapo and, of course, the fucking KGB, all wrapped into one. I'm of course talking about the CCG because the CCG, for those of you who weren't paying attention and actually read between the lines, has zero government oversight, has zero checks and balances, making it essentially a vigilante organization in terms of the law. And while, yes, you could argue saying that we've seen them in the anime and the manga work alongside police forces and law enforcement, that still doesn't account the fact that they do not answer to the government. They may work alongside the government, but they do not answer to the government. And already that raises a lot of questions and a lot of cool ideas for fanfictions. Number one, you can basically have it to where you can have a story where it's political intrigue and where this organization has to walk a fine line between working alongside them and not getting hammered down by the government. Now, this could work in a lot of ways because some people could see the CCG exactly as for what it is, a rogue organization that the government has not put down. You could have investigative reporters infiltrating the organization and finding skeletons in the closet that don't want exposed, yet they do. You can have it to where there are anti-human, anti-CCG human groups, militant groups, that, in the most literal sense, go after the CCG, either on a political scale, PR scale, pushing for more oversight, more government legislation to limit the CCG's power and what they can do, and them working alongside the good ghouls, and have it built up to where there is now a arms race between this group and the CCG, and that people at first don't understand why this group of humans is going against them until one instant. And this one instant, you can do whatever you want. One of the two could happen. Number one, which could go to instant number two, is have a guy who saw a CCG officer or investigator, a dove, kill the girl he loves in front of him because the investigator claims that she was getting in the way of an investigation or official CCG business and was a traitor to humanity or some other bullshit like that, and not able to get the guy arrested. That pushes him over the edge, and he becomes a suicide bomber. Literally walks into the CCG HQ, does a full manifesto of basically what's wrong with the CCG and why he's doing and why he hates them, and then finally pulls an Aloha snack bar and blows himself up along with anyone else in the CCG HQ. That will launch investigation, which launches an investigation into not only why the guy attacked them, but also the CCG, causing them to immediately try to do heavy PR campaigns. Second instant, a child's death. And when I mean a child's death, I mean a ghoul child, because whenever they've been told about ghouls, they've told them that these ghouls basically are monsters. Well, you have a child being chased by investigators, by doves, and people are now curious why they're trying to kill this child, and stopping them, attempting to stopping them, and even being told that if they do not stop helping this creature, they will be killed, and that could cause a whole riot, or at least an attempted riot. Even the police will get involved. People recording this incident. And then finally it happens. One lucky shot in, they kill the child. And then all hell breaks loose. People start ganging up on them. It's a full-on lynch mob. And they openly kill these investigators, which causes the ghouls to reach out to this militant group and immediately want to help them. This could be turned into essentially an IRA story, a type of militant story, where these militants now have the fuel and the justifiable cause to go after the CCG, and immediately start a full-on militant campaign on every single CCG headquarters around the world, declaring war on them, and the government having to decide whether they side with these people or they side with the militants. And basically turning each state, each area where the CCG is, into Afghanistan. Basically, the CCG being the failed organizations who have tried to basically democratize the Middle East, or basically like the Troubles, where the CCG now have to go out in full combat gear every time they go to an investigation because of snipers, fucking gun attacks, even outright people themselves trying to go after them. Again, this could be a great, beautiful political intrigue story and even militant story, because you could do multiple points of view. Let's say you want to do the point of view of an honest-to-God CCG dove who literally wants to do a good job, literally wants to basically help people, but is kind of conflicted because of what happened and led up to these conflicts that they're in right now. A government agent trying to actually rein in the CCG and basically cause a ceasefire between these organizations, and even trying to help put in legislation that allows ghouls to be helped out, because ghouls, in a sense, are still human. They just have an affliction. And then the public point of view, where the public is divided, where people want to support the CCG, but they don't want to support the child killing that they saw on the news, the sheeple, essentially. And then you have some who want to join the militants and want to help bring down the CCG. And then you have the militants and the ghouls who actually want to help out. Actually change the world so they both can coexist. We could follow these rebels, these militants, these IRA, these Afghanistan, basically this organization, as they're bringing the fight to the CCG. Again, there's a lot of ways this could be done. There's a lot of ways this could go down. And the fact that no one has done this yet, or I haven't found it yet, really kind of upsets me a bit, because apparently people are so dead set on seeing ghouls as monsters and the CCG as good guys that they're not seeing the gray. They're not seeing what's in between. And for someone like me who actually is in a family who is very much so multi-religious and very much so multi-ethnical, and have heard arguments between every single one of them about why they've killed each other, or at least why their religions have killed each other over the years, this right here is a perfect analogy for that. The ghouls and the militants could be seen as the Protestants against the Catholics. The CCG could be seen as the Catholics against the Protestants. Or maybe go as far as a political allegory of basically showing why government oversight is needed and checks and balances are needed for organizations like the CCG, and why sometimes big government is a good thing. As much as a libertarian as I am and absolutely hate big government, this kind of story could work in that favor. But I digress. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this idea, and any ideas you may have. And whether or not you have the same view as I do on the CCG and Tokyo Ghoul. And whether or not you believe that more government oversight should be put on them and given more restrictions to what they should do. Checks and balances, people. Checks and balances. Till next time.